morning, you beautiful humans. My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sippin' the Tea, where we
sip the tea and our guests
spill that tea. Or coffee, or H2O, and that was stank, but okay, no problem. What's up, Miss Mama?
We have a little glitty bit here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we live in an age where we are surrounded with the desire for social media, and we have somebody here today, Dan Fleyshman, that was just named as one to watch by Forbes magazine, with over $68 million done in deals between influencers and brands. This man knows what the hell he's doing. He's the leading authority, and he's right here, my brother.
What is
Thank you so much for coming, my friend.
Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here. You guys got a really nice set.
Thank you.
Like, really nice.
We're just trying to be like you, you know.
No,
you got to find your level and stick to it, and then build on it.
Fancy this year. Puppies and lighting everywhere. It's great.
I was like, hang on a minute, I'm checking. Wait, you got the shoe game on point, brother.
Okay. Everyone has their shoe game on point today.
All right, I know you got it. Want to get in on it?
Yes. Okay, so I want to dive deep. Okay, you are the youngest founder to publicly trade a company in history. Let's repeat that again, guys. In history. So walk us through that whole process. I mean, because most people strive to leave their mark on this earth, and you are just killing it. So
at 17.
Like, that is incredible. Like, I mean, it's such an inspiration to me. Walk us down that journey.
Sure. So we'd done clothing for the first few years, and we started doing like 5 million a year, then 12 million a year, and 20 million a year. And we were babies. We were 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. And these investment bankers came to us and said, hey, if you want to really launch this energy drink under the same brand name, we're going to take you public, and we'll get you a lot of money. 2 years and $2 million of legal fees later, we were public, right? It's a lot of work. So it was an amazing experience, but it was really tough. It's like 10 Qs and 8 Ks and all these weird symbols and numbers you've never heard of. You just did that for a lot of times in order to prepare to be publicly traded. But that day changed my life. Like, I'll never forget. It was April 2005, and all of a sudden I go from nobody knowing who I am. We're doing good revenue, but nobody knowing, to like CNN, like every week. Like, it was nuts. And this is before social media. I don't know if you guys remember before social media, but there was a time before social media.
There was
we got the flip phones.
Yeah.
We got,
Sidekick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was life-changing. You know, like that experience and that next half a decade of just legal paperwork, accounting, dealing with investors, shareholders, 1,400 people asking you questions every week. Like, it was a lot, but it gives you liquidity, it gives you access, you can trade stock for money in real time. Meaning, like, if you needed to raise $5 million, doing it privately is much tougher than doing it when you're public, because you have something that's tangible that people can buy from you, trade with it, and liquidate if they need to. So
it blows my mind, though. At 17, you're thrust into this moment, and it's kind of like world stage. Were you prepared mentally, because this is all you lived and breathed, or were you just kind of like going with the motion, knowing what you wanted the end game to be, but being thrust so fast into it? How did you handle that pressure?
I don't think you have a choice, right? Like if we take the puppy and hold them into a pool, they're going to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna figure it out. They don't have a choice. The only option is not a choice. You don't want to drown, right?
Totally.
So your choice is to survive. And so doing that, I was trying to survive, but then I had help. I had little lifeboats coming by. This was my mentor, this was my advisor, this was my investor, this was my partner. And I was asking questions all the time. These people have done 200 million in clothing, makes me doing 12 look like tiny. Oh, this is the CEO or chairman of Budweiser, they're doing 30 billion. My little 10 million, you know, like, I start asking the questions of the people that I'm surrounded by, and now I'm jumping on, holding on to their lifeboats. It's a lot easier to swim holding on to these lifeboats.
Man.
Smart perspective.
It really is. And I mean, I just kind of like want to like tap into something, because, you know, people look at, you know, an entrepreneur who is successful, who's made all this money, and there's kind of like this negative, you know, connotation that, like, you know, entrepreneurs are greedy and they don't, you know, help do other things. I mean, we'll tap into that a little bit later about how you're an angel investor, but let's talk about your charity and, you know, how that got started and kind of everything behind that.
So I kept raising a lot of money for other people's charities and not seeing what happened. I get them $165,000 on a Sunday, and then Monday I don't hear from them, and I never hear from them again.
Yeah, I'm out the door already. I left.
Right?
Thank you.
Bye, Felipe.
Yeah.
And it's not that they didn't, I'm not insinuating they did something wrong, but I just don't know. So I wanted a charity that had a very simple cause and effect. I make backpacks for the homeless with 14 pounds of supplies, 150 items inside. And if I hand that backpack to somebody, you're going to visually see it. I'll either send it to your home, or I'm going to post pictures and videos of me and my staff giving it out. That's it. You're gonna know if we raise 30 grand, 100 grand, 500 bucks, or 5 million, you're gonna see that many backpacks given out to the homeless. We also do it for women abuse shelters, teen abuse shelters, and orphanages. And so I just wanted a charity that people could see. Like, I can't cure cancer. I can't cure AIDS.
Yeah.
Like, people have raised tens of billions of dollars to do it, and technically it's been done for 2 decades, but that's a whole different story.
That's some other tea for later.
Don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But because of that, I know I could do this. I know for the rest of my life, it's been 7 years now, and I'll do it for the rest of my life. I pay for all expenses. I cover all overhead. So if a dollar comes in, a dollar goes to a backpack. There is no other cost. I'm always going to cover that. And so for me, it's just a very simple, straightforward. If somebody wants to donate 10 grand, or go do it themselves. Like the video I posted today was about, we're doing a charity event this weekend for 400 school children. Same concept. If you can't come do it with us, do it in Philadelphia, do it in Atlanta, do it in Miami. I don't need you to donate to me. I want you to just go donate your time, energy. It doesn't have to be money. Just go put in the effort.
Man,
I feel like you're creating and I using your platform, and I think it's really, it's very authentic because you're connecting with people. And I love what you just said about being able to actually, if you can't be present with you want them to go and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
How does that feel being, having such a following and actually looking to you and actually having that impact where people are doing that because you're basically like, here, this is what I did. And you're so forthcoming and open about every step of that process. And you're like, yo, go do it yourself because you want them to do that. How does that feel to be able to, kind of make change, and physical change you can see?
It's infinitely more fun for me and fulfilling for me. If you said, Dan, here's $100,000 for my charity, I would have a short-filled moment of excitement. I would wire the money to the warehouse. They would make backpacks that would get shipped. But if you said, hey, Dan, I raised $3,400 in Atlanta, and then sent me a picture of you and your staff or you and your kids going out and giving out backpacks, like, I would be emotional. You see the difference?
Yeah.
Because you went and did it. That's more exciting for me. The messages I get of people actually going and doing it in New York and in Phoenix, Arizona, and in Honduras or wherever, like, that to me is exciting, that I can impact people to go do stuff. In 7 years of my charity, I don't think I've really asked anybody to donate to me, to my charity. I don't need you to. I want you to go do stuff. If by default you donate to my charity, I send the backpacks out the same week or two. Like, I don't hold a bunch of backpacks. I'm out there giving them out all the time. We're having volunteers give them out all the time. I want people to go make their own backpacks, go make their own Ziploc bags of sandwiches, go do that stuff. I think that if we all inspire people to do that, a lot of stuff can happen.
Speak on that. I mean, that's global impact. What you're doing is like, and it's on a large scale as well. It's kind of like if everybody kind of did their little bit.
Right, and it's realistic.
Yes.
It's not realistic for me to say, hey, go raise $800,000.
Yeah, that's not realistic.
Simple.
That's a lot of time on the corner, babe. Like,
Right?
that's a lot of time.
Oh, that's a different type of
I'm like,
raise
come on
money.
now.
Like, but if I said, hey, you go get 800 people to post to their 1,000 followers about them making sandwiches for the local homeless, that's a realistic thing that you can spend the next month or two, and you and your team could go get 800 people to go do something. Like, see the trickle-down effect?
And it's using social media in the way I believe it was intended to be used for.
Supposed to be used, yeah.
To be social, to be in person. All my events are to end up with humans actually interacting.
Which is so rare because everyone now is just like behind their phone, and people are also preaching things that are usually not authentic. And it's just such a it's just so refreshing to see that like what you're doing is making an impact in so many different ways. It's giving back to the community, and it's also helping people start their dreams. It kind of segues me into elevator studios, which you have elevator night where you bring on 12 people to do like a 5-minute pitch. So when you're looking at someone who's pitching their story, what would you say is that one thing that grabs your attention?
You're right. Can I take a notepad out, please?
Yeah.
Come on now.
It's the person. I'm betting on the human. Because the idea is think about it, we have 7 billion humans, right? You have more than one idea a day. So 7 billion times X equals tens of billions or hundreds of billions or trillions. Everybody's got an idea. They're infinite. The human is the one that actually execute on it. So I'm betting on you. I'm betting on you, right? Like, I'm betting on you to perform. And even if down the path something happens, I'm betting on you that you'll handle it if you have to swerve or even pivot. I'm betting on you, right?
Wow.
And that's what I'm looking for. We had 300 or 400 applications for elevator nights, and we picked 12. So think about like we have to.
I mean, how do you define I'm betting on you? Like, what is that
People
that strikes out for you?
Listen up over here.
When you look at somebody and you're like, is it the emotion that they give? Is it like, if somebody came to you just like roar and like, my life's in a mess, but I have this brilliant idea,
Absolutely.
I just don't know. What really gets the...
I would bet on somebody whose life's in a mess way more than I would somebody with a Harvard education.
Wow.
Every time.
I believe in that, actually.
Because if somebody with a Harvard education, if something goes wrong, they'll just quit and do something else.
True story.
Wow.
There's no emotion to it.
That gave me chills.
The person that grew up in Long Beach, like me, we had 24 grand a year for a family of 4 living in LA. I'm not gonna, there is no failure. There is no version of me not getting to the end. There isn't, it doesn't exist, right? I can't just quit and go, oh, I'm just gonna get another job, like the Harvard graduate can. The kid from Long Beach, or the kid from Compton, the kid from Brooklyn, that kid that grew up with nothing, that person's gonna win. They don't have a choice.
People need to hear this because it's true.
It is, yeah, I mean, I agree. You think about, you know, the people who end up being the most successful are the people who had it the worst off. They have something to prove, you know. It is a lot easier when you do have an education, you do come from a wealthy family. I feel like it's easier to quit or go do something else. But you have like that drive. I mean, I see it in you. Like, you know, you see it in people who you're surrounded with. Like when the people who really win really do have like that, you know, like that grit to really succeed.
I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people on my phone that are zillionaires. I can't name you one that grew up with money.
That makes me happy because it's like those stories, it's more deserving, but it's also like, I think some people with money have the blocks and just sit on blocks. But if you give the block to, which I feel like you're doing, you're like, here's the jigsaw pieces. Go and do it. And that person's like, oh my God, I'm going to at least try. And like that diverts and what have you. It's some more like the resilience and the journey. It's kind of like, you know, your story in itself is that blocks and you, through life trial and error, putting it together.
Elevator nights is almost like charity to me because it's free. Elevator, we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because there's no tickets, no sponsors, and no sales. Like, we're paying for everything. We've thrown 33 or 34 of those now. Like, that's expensive.
Yeah.
We do it because a lot of stuff happens when these 5 people invest into this entrepreneur and they give them 400 grand and they go build a company, they go hire staff. That affects a lot of lives. Like all the companies that we're investing in or helping, like they're creating thousands and thousands of jobs. That's fulfilling to me. Like that's infinitely more important to me than me getting an exit.
Yeah.
Way better. Because if I have an exit, I'm just going to deploy it back into the community. Because I don't buy stuff. I haven't had a car in 5 years. Like I just want stuff to happen.
That's impressive.
Human driven.
Yeah.
I think that's more people need to, I think people need to hear this because I think living and breathing together and being in an ethos of, I mean, you're definitely 1 in a million because a lot of people don't have the mindset. It's kind of like, how do you train to get that mindset? Like how?
The tough part is they're trained, like she said earlier, like they're seeing the fake lifestyle.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
They think that they have to have a Lamborghini to get by.
For image.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I need that.
They think their skin has to be perfect at all times, and they think everything has to be perfect. That's not real life. Like I post so much behind the scenes stuff, and the silly stuff, and the emotional stuff, and the good stuff because that's real life. Being perfect is not real life. Literally nobody's perfect. Nobody ever will be. Nobody has been. It's never gonna happen.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
a good one.
Woo, I mean, it's you know, I've told you, like I've followed you for a long time. So having you on here, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's like a dream come true. But to, you know, really seeing you here in person, it's like it makes me look at you on even a bigger grand of scheme of things. Like you're doing so much, and it's like it's commendable. I mean, I want to touch on this right here, this book. I know it came out a few years back, but this book is amazing because you literally kind of give, I guess you could say that there's a secret formula. This is the secret formula. It's like a 2-hour read, and it's, you know, how you can create a business with, you know, for under $1,000. 1K, y'all. So, you know, kind of, you know, walk us through the book a little bit. Give us a little bit of, you know, little nuggets.
So the main reason for it was the same concept. I try to give it out as much for free as I can. You can use a free code elevator to get it right now for anybody watching. You can get the free.
We'll make sure that we,
Yeah.
we'll make sure that we share that for sure.
Free code. And to me, it's just a lot of people want to do something. Like your uncle has wanted to start a fishing lure company for the last 25 years. Every Thanksgiving, he brings it up to you like, I'm going to start this fishing lure company. And next year, he's going to bring it up to you again and again and again and never actually start it. But the three of us right this second could go on Alibaba and find fishing lures. We could go Google fishing lures, find price points. We can go get a corporation on LegalZoom. We could trademark it on USPTO.gov. We can build a website on GoDaddy or Shopify or ClickFunnels. We can do all that stuff for a couple $100 while we're sitting here. Before I get to the valet, I can have a business launch with you guys, right?
This is real pieces of the puzzle. Like you just literally laid it out so simple for people.
Right.
Because we live in an age where I can do everything off my cell phone while we're sitting here for nothing. Everything is free or cheap now, everything. So this is just a very basic playbook to set up your corporation, your trademark, your website, the different apps you can use, how to make everything in real life.
To reach more people.
Yeah.
This is a tool to reach more people. And like, everything you're doing is about that human contact, even if you can't physically be connecting.
Culture. It's like building that culture.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm like, whoo. So, I mean, ask one little question here. What advice, I mean, you just pretty much did give, some nuggets there. If someone's struggling, though, because people, even though things are so easy, you say you can build a business and be out of here, people are just still so afraid to make that step. What is that one thing, if you could say anything, that you would give advice to just, break that fear?
So I only signed my book with 3 words and 3 words only. Just get started.
Can you say that down that lens right there?
Just get started. The point is, the uncle of 25 years, he's never going to get started because he thinks it takes 6 months to a year. It's going to take $100,000. He needs this and this and this and executives in office. You don't need an office anymore. You don't need a bunch of executives. You don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars to start. Like, you could literally start today with a few $100s, and people are so scared of failure. But they don't understand. Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, Mark Cuban, everybody we idolize have not just failed. They've failed with billions of dollars on the line, thousands of employees getting fired, like humongous.
Spectacularly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even now when they have infinite money, Zuckerberg buys companies all the time that he bankrupts and fails. He could fund them forever if he wanted to. He's got infinite money.
It's true.
Mark Cuban has plenty of companies. Warren Buffett has plenty of investments that they just fail. It's not because they're bad or wrong or not. They're great. Elon Musk still has situations. He's our Iron Man, right? Like he's the one that's taking us out of the
situations.
Taking us to the next planet.
But he has failures. Ridiculous, obscure, bazillion-dollar failures. Like these things are real life. Once you realize it doesn't matter if you fail or you start to be scared of fail, like I'm on stage at elevator nights. If a bird comes poops, I'll clean it up in front of 1,000 people, and I'll get back up and keep talking. I don't care. They're not going to be at my funeral. None of those people matter to me. I'm there.
Wow.
That's true.
Like I don't have that emotional attachment. The reason I'm helping so many people is I want them to help lots of other people.
A crescendo effect. One begets another. It's like domino game.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the true meaning of life. Like you really have found, your purpose and passion. And wow, I'm blown away. Because like I said, I've followed your journey for such a long time. So it's great to,
Cool.
It is.
I want to loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to talk about you being,
Yeah, no, right?
I want to talk about, if you look at your Instagram, there's a hottie. There's a, you're a bit of an Instagram husband. Mm-hmm. Do you take the pictures of your girl?
Absolutely.
Oh, so that's number one rule.
I mean, she has photographers and videographers that she works with all the time for professional shoots.
You're like, I'm ready now, though.
But when we're traveling, I take it, or I kidnap Kevin Ostage to follow us around.
What's up there?
Hey there. Give that shout out to Kevin over there.
That's so funny.
But Paris Hilton kidnapped him from me, so I'm
name drop. Let me sip some coffee.
She stole him from me. So.
Come on, man. Come on, man. So what's that relationship like in terms of, does she travel with you? So, take us through.
So she manages campaigns for the agency. So for supplement companies and protein and cannabis and CBD and pet companies, they The influencers send in their screenshots.
Wake up, we got pet products. Get back to sleep, babes. It's all good.
The influencers submit their screenshots to her. She puts them in reporting. So she's dealing with it on that side. But we don't talk about it a lot to keep it, not have business in the household.
Okay.
So if she has situations with influencers or staff or whatever, I try to let her handle it.
Lead her charge.
Yeah, let her do
Unless
her
there's
thing.
some crazy situation where I need to be like, I really prefer, even when she has battles with somebody, I want her to handle it because I want her to be her own executive.
He's a gentleman.
Right.
He's popping.
He's just everything.
Damn.
Just the whole king of all trades over here.
King of all trades. I'm just trying to be a jerk, bitch.
Before we wrap up, do we have leave it on a real positive note?
I'm going to
real
bring up some questions.
Yes.
While we get here. You want to start with I like the island question.
Yes.
I remember
So, quick rapid fire. If you were stuck on an island, what is the one thing you would need?
My wife.
Oh,
Damn.
damn.
I don't have another answer.
He gave that politically correct answer over there. No, just kidding.
That's a good answer.
That's how I would survive. She knows how to use guns and crossbows and build stuff. Like, she's great.
Damn,
She looks like a boss.
Yeah, she's
I was like, she looks like a boss. All right, if you had one superpower, what would it be?
Time travel.
Explain.
There's so many things that I could fix and correct that, listen, there's a butterfly effect that obviously bad things can happen too if you fix stuff in the past. But there's a lot of things that I think that the greater good would have been better if it was fixed. And there's a lot of things that have happened in our world and society that I think a small little trigger point could have saved us.
I'm not mad at that.
That's good. A couple more.
Who is the last person who texted you?
Want me to look?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, and better not be Steve. The last
over
person
there.
before Steve.
His name is Molly Mall. He's a rapper.
Oh. That's another name drop. I'm a sip my tea over here.
And the last
Not
one.
dropping when it's real, right? It's not name dropping if it's real.
No, it's no. We know you're authentic. We know you keep it 1,000%.
Let me just Google that shit. If your house was on fire, what two things would you run back in to get, if anything?
My dog and my dog.
Done.
All right. I mean, we gotta.
I mean, that's choose it out.
Yeah, because I mean,
Simple and easy.
Yes.
Possessions are just that.
That is true. So for people who are living under a rock, you guys need to follow this man. Please plug everything, your social media, your business, just boom, right there, that camera.
So my social media is all at Dan Fleyshman, Fleyshman. And that's another tip for you guys. Your bio and your photo and your screen name should be the same across every single social media platform. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, all the same.
I changed mine when I knew you were coming to make them all the same. I read that and I was like, I'm going to change
You want me to
it
get
just in case. No, I was like, yeah.
Where they can get this book too? Come on now.
It's buythisbook.com.
With the code.
And then the free code is Elevator. That'll get you the ebook for free.
Boom. You guys can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew and this little nugget at Glitty Glit.
You can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983 and we'll let the sleeping beast lie.
All right. Woo, this was a very insightful. I mean, you guys, this is a man to follow. He is just doing so many great things and many blessings to you.
Thank you for what you're doing, brother. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah. All right, guys. Until next week on Sippin' the Tea, we will catch you guys next Tuesday on Ever Talk TV.
Bye.
Yeah, you got the wrong number. Click.